Like any concerned parent, Donna Johnson was desperate to get her son help after he developed a drug addiction. But as she tried to get him the care he needed, she says she was taken advantage of by people who saw him as nothing but a lucrative business opportunity.
Just a cash cow, if you want to call it. He had a good insurance policy. He was put into situations that nobody should be ever, put in.
Her son fell victim to body brokers, people who are paid by rehab facilities to recruit patients. They scout at AA meetings, sober living homes, and on social media, targeting vulnerable recovering addicts who have insurance. The goal is to lure victims into these supposed rehab centers and begin billing for care that often puts profits over patients.
Hi, my name is Philip Nash, and I have chosen to do my persuasive speech on the Florida Shuffle. Now, the Florida Shuffle is essentially what we just heard about. It's mainly client brokering and insurance fraud. Client brokering is when these rogue rehab centers pay for clients to come down here, pay them to relapse, just to go into another treatment center so they can build insurance again. That way they split all of the kickback money, sometimes even giving the client some of the money. The insurance fraud more or less comes in when these rehab centers charge the insurance provider for services that they're not providing. Lots of people have passed away due to this, just like the woman in the beginning of that clip. Her son unfortunately passed away due to the lack of care and the selfishness and the greed of the treatment center that he was in. This has been going on for years now, but it really took off in 2010 when Barack Obama signed the Affordable Care Act. When that happened, it enabled people from 18 to 26 to stay on their parents' health insurance plans, and it also expanded care and benefits for people for substance abuse and mental health coverage. So with that being said, that really opened the floodgates for drug treatment centers to do a lot of heavy recruiting and a lot more fraud and brokering. Right here you'll see a picture of a man called Kenny Chapman. He was a rehab owner in Palm Beach County, and right now he's serving 27 years in federal prison due to human trafficking, money laundering, and insurance fraud. His treatment center was actually closed down, and he was caught by the Florida Sober Living Task Force in Palm Beach County. The task force was created in 2016 by the state attorney general, and it consists of federal detectives, investigators, as well as civilians who specialize in substance abuse and addiction. This is the task force investigating Chapman's treatment center, and basically they were told of allegations and found them to be true. He was causing a lot of harm to a lot of people. Sex trafficking was one of them. He was paying people to relapse, getting them hooked on drugs again, and exploiting them to make money for him. So this is actually a mother here who testified against him because her child died in care of one of his facilities. So that really brought a lot of attention to the Florida Shuffle nationwide. And in 2016, new laws were also passed, which did make it more difficult for treatment centers to do that moving forward. However, today it's still prevalent. Some of these new laws were that the Department of Family and Child Services would oversee drug treatment centers in Florida. Also, drug treatment centers now have to be FAR accredited, which does have high standards, but it's not terribly high. FAR accreditation basically asks for these treatment centers to have a business license, have a fire exit plan, have a drug-free environment. So just having those basic standards goes to show you how bad these treatment centers were before these laws were put into place. Also, some of the new laws that are in place now are the clinical director has to have a medical background as far as being a nurse practitioner in substance abuse, or a medical doctor that has experience with substance abuse, which again goes to show you before these laws were put in place, anyone with a degree was put in as a clinical director. Also, personnel in these facilities must pass a level 2 background check. When I was doing my research, it was very difficult at some points because there was an advertisement for a treatment center in Florida every time I typed something in my search engine. Literally every time I put something in there, advertisement for this treatment center, advertisement for that treatment center. And that made me look up the city of Pompano Beach right here in Broward County. I worked there for a year, and while I worked there, I saw 3 overdoses. Once I was on my phone outside and a gentleman overdosed right behind me. I was in Target, someone overdosed, and I was also in a Publix and someone overdosed. This is the city of Pompano, and these are all drug facility centers located in Pompano. These are all halfway houses, sober living homes in Pompano. Pompano is not the best neighborhoods in all of Broward County. There is a lot of drug activity. A lot of these treatment centers and halfway homes are across the street from active drug dealing. So a client can go into detox, go into halfway, and literally leave the center and go get high across the street. That really makes you question why these facilities that are making millions of money are opening up their businesses in these neighborhoods. So, although these new laws are put in place and it has made it more difficult for treatment centers to create fraud, it is still going on. For instance, treatment centers might bill an insurance provider for a drug urinalysis for $4,000 on a Monday, and then rebill them again on a Tuesday. With addiction being with a lot to learn about addiction and relapse being very common, it's hard for insurance providers to dispute this. So there's still a lot of room for these rehabs to take advantage of that. Client brokering has gone down, but is still active. It's just a bit harder to prove these days. Don't give up hope though. There are still treatment centers around that do have integrity. A good way to find them is through the SAMHSA website, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. They can list all of the requirements and all of the state laws that rehab centers have to abide by in Florida. They can also navigate you to legitimate rehab centers that are certified and Joint Commission and FAR. Also, insurance providers are stepping up their game and trying to prevent this by only allowing drug treatment centers in their network that have multiple accreditations, not just the FAR accreditation. I chose this because I'm actually in recovery and I've worked in treatment myself. In my short time working in rehab facilities, I have seen an owner get high with the clients. I have seen rehabs keep their clients longer than they needed to, longer than their care plan stated that they needed to be there to bill their insurance providers longer. This is very sad to me. I've known people that have died because of this, and I hope that I've persuaded you to actually advocate for the Florida Shuffle to stop, and hopefully advocate for us in Broward County to have what they have in Palm Beach County as far as a task force. So with that being said, thank you for listening, and I hope that you have learned something today.